Look closely at the life you are living, not the one you dream about. The quiet moments you dismiss as insignificant are shaping your existence far more than the grand gestures you imagine. Every choice you avoid, every responsibility you push aside, is a thread pulled from the fabric of your future. It is tempting to wait, to hope that someone will arrive with answers, that fortune will favor you without your effort. Yet the harsh truth of existence does not bend to desire or expectation. You are alone in the theater of your life. Others may offer guidance, but they cannot inhabit your thoughts, cannot endure your trials, cannot carry the weight of your actions for you. The universe has no obligation to intervene. Its laws are impartial, indifferent, and yet profoundly truthful. Contemplate the nature of dependency. When the mind leans on external forces for security, it becomes fragile. The moment those forces falter, so too does the spirit that relied upon them. Consider the wisdom of Epictetus, who endured chains yet remained free, because freedom resides not in circumstances, but in understanding. The mind that clings to expectation will always find disappointment. The soul that cultivates self-reliance encounters resilience. Nothing in the world will protect you from the consequences of your own choices except your own discernment, your own preparation, your own courage. And courage is not a fire that flares once and dies. It is a muscle built through daily confrontation with discomfort, with uncertainty, with fear itself. You may feel powerless at times, as though the weight of existence presses from all directions. That sensation is not a verdict against you, it is the teacher. Seneca reminds us that the difficulties we experience are not obstacles but instruments, shaping character in ways that ease and pleasure never could. When life imposes resistance, it offers an opportunity to discover strength you did not know existed, to practice wisdom in real time, to refine the temperament that will carry you forward with dignity. To wait for someone else to rescue you is to deny yourself the profound mastery of your own being. No one's arrival can replace your personal growth. No external force can instill in you the discipline, the clarity, or the serenity that arises from deliberate choice. Examine the hours you waste in inaction. Each moment surrendered to distraction or hesitation is a moment surrendered to fate. Do not confuse effortlessness with peace. The tranquility of a life well led comes not from idleness, but from understanding what is within your control and what is not, and fully committing to the first while gracefully accepting the second. Marcus Aurelius would urge you to treat every morning as a summons to purpose, to engage with the day's challenges as though they are invitations to refine yourself. Each interaction, each difficulty, each fleeting emotion is a chance to practice judgment, courage, patience, and integrity. Understand that this independence is not a burden but liberation. To realize that no one will save you is to finally see that the power to shape your life lies entirely in your hands. Others may advise, inspire, or accompany, but the direction, the motion, the execution, all of it rests with you. It is frightening, yes, but it is also electrifying. The recognition of total responsibility is the doorway to mastery. You will stumble, you will falter. That is natural. But to falter while standing on your own feet is far nobler than to be carried, untested, by someone else's strength. This is not merely philosophy, it is the practice of existence itself. Your life is the crucible, your choices are the forge. And in each deliberate act, however small, you assert the sovereignty of your own spirit. Every thought you cultivate, every habit you forge, every value you embody, is a reflection of the truth that no external salvation exists. This truth can either terrify or empower you, and the difference lies in perception. To embrace it is to accept that your potential is not granted by others, it is claimed by you. The Stoic path asks you to step into this truth with eyes wide open, to feel the weight of absolute responsibility without shrinking from it. The universe is indifferent, chance is relentless, and yet within this vast expanse, your mind remains a domain over which no external power can exercise dominion unless you surrender it. Awaken to the realization that action precedes results, and thought alone cannot rescue. Reflection without application is idle fantasy. Courage without direction is chaos. Wisdom untested by adversity is dormant. Seek no intercessor for your transformation, for it lies entirely within your grasp. Each day is a canvas, each challenge a brushstroke, each choice a pigment with the power to render a masterpiece or a ruin. The awareness that no one will save you is not a condemnation. It is the ultimate liberation, the call to awaken, to act, and to assume command of your own destiny. Do not postpone your becoming. Start with the small things, speak with integrity, act with purpose, embrace discomfort. Build habits that mirror the strength you wish to embody. Let each deliberate step accumulate until it forms the foundation of a life unshakable by circumstance, unyielding to the whims of fortune. Remember that control resides in perception and action, not in expectation. The moment you cease seeking deliverance from others is the moment you begin the profound journey of self-mastery, the one journey from which no one can relieve you or accompany you, and yet one that rewards with complete freedom. Consider the illusion of waiting for an external savior. Life does not operate on schedules of convenience or mercy. The horizon does not bend to your longing, and circumstances are not bound by your desire for relief. Each day arrives unannounced, carrying the weight of events beyond your control, indifferent to hope or complaint. Yet, within this immovable structure, your mind is sovereign. It is here, in the realm of perception and judgment, that freedom is found. Freedom does not consist of the absence of difficulty. It arises from the mastery of thought in the presence of adversity. To surrender this truth is to surrender your own agency, to hand the reins of existence to a world that owes you nothing. Reflect on the countless ways you have deferred responsibility. The moments spent blaming others, envying fortune, or wishing for intervention are moments where your power was idle. Such surrender may feel comfortable in the fleeting sense of blame or self-pity, but it is a prison of your own making. Epictetus reminds us that life is neither just nor unjust. It simply is. It obeys no moral favor. Those who wait for rescue are trapped in expectation. Those who act independently are liberated in practice. The path to self-determination is neither easy nor forgiving, but it is real, and it is yours to walk. No one else can take this journey for you. Observe your fears closely. Fear often masquerades as wisdom, caution, or prudence, yet it is often only a whisper of hesitation, a desire for external protection. The mind that refuses to confront challenges you. The illusion that safety will arrive from outside remains weak. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Marcus Aurelius instructs that the obstacle in the way is the way itself. Resistance, struggle, and uncertainty are not barriers, they are tools to cultivate strength and understanding. Your growth is inseparable from these moments, and your deliverance lies precisely in facing them rather than waiting for another hand to lift you. Ask yourself, if the world offered nothing, what would you do? If the people you rely upon could not assist you, how would you respond? The answer reveals the true measure of your independence. The Stoics teach that self-sufficiency is not withdrawal from society, but mastery over your internal state, regardless of external flux. When you depend on circumstance or the intervention of others for your peace, you tether your spirit to fragility. But when you cultivate virtue, discipline, and deliberate thought, the world may challenge you endlessly, yet it cannot touch the core of your character. Strength becomes a sanctuary built from wisdom, patience, and deliberate action. Every decision ignored, every moment procrastinated, compounds into a life half-lived. Time is a relentless current. It does not pause for hesitation, regret, or longing. Seneca implores us to consider the brevity of life as the spark that ignites meaningful effort. Waiting for salvation is the opposite of engagement. It is surrendering precious moments to illusion. Even small acts performed with intentionality accumulate into resilience. Speak truth, act honorably, resist indulgence, embrace discomfort. These are not grand gestures, but they are the foundation of a life governed by your own hands, not by chance or by others' benevolence. Embrace the weight of responsibility as a gift. There is a profound liberation in realizing that our destiny is yours alone to shape. No one's arrival will provide insight or courage you have not cultivated within. There is no hero outside of you who can wield the discipline, wisdom, or integrity that only daily practice can instill. Marcus Aurelius would counsel that your attention must be deliberate, your effort steady, and your focus unwavering. The mind trained to act, to respond with virtue, and to endure difficulty becomes an invincible fortress against the unpredictability of life. Recognize the subtle ways you seek rescue. Complaints, distractions, endless planning, or longing for intervention are forms of escapism. They are gentle shackles that keep you tethered to reliance on others or on chance. To break free, you must act decisively within your sphere of influence. Thought without action is idle. Planning without courage is meaningless. Waiting without exertion is surrender. Your autonomy, your peace, your progress, all require deliberate engagement. Each moment of effort is a step away from dependence and a step toward mastery. No philosophy exists merely for reflection. It is a practice, a manual for living wisely amid the chaos of circumstance. The Stoic call is neither gentle nor optional. It demands confrontation with the self and the world. Life's indifference can be terrifying, yet it is the soil in which personal power grows. To acknowledge that no one will save you is to be freed from illusions, to inherit the responsibility to act, and to claim the authority to cultivate your character intentionally. This is not a burden to be feared, it is the essence of human dignity. Take stock of your life today. What action, however small, will affirm that you are no longer waiting? What choice will declare that you are responsible, capable, and awake? The moment you cease relying on external rescue, you step into sovereignty over your own existence. Why? Oh, embrace the work, the discipline, and the courage that define a life of virtue. Each challenge you meet independently strengthens the foundation of resilience and self-mastery that no fortune, circumstance, or external hand can ever dismantle. Notice how often life tempts you to seek comfort in the presence of others. It whispers that reliance is security, that guidance is rescue, that protection must come from outside yourself. Yet all of this is illusion. No mentor, no friend, no circumstance can carry the weight of your choices for you. Even the wisest advisors are powerless to act on your behalf. The moment you depend on them, you give away fragments of your sovereignty. True strength, as the Stoics teach, is cultivated in solitude, not in isolation born of despair, but in quiet engagement with your own mind, where reflection meets disciplined action. Here lies the essence of independence, the realization that life's currents cannot break you unless you yield to them. Reflect on the nature of expectation. The human mind seeks predictability and favors delay, hoping that events will unfold in ways that minimize effort or risk. Yet the world's pattern is indifferent to your wishes. Chaos, loss, and uncertainty are constants. Waiting for a shield to appear from the outside is only surrender. The courage to act without waiting is courage in its purest form. Marcus Aurelius urged vigilance, noting that the present moment is all that exists to shape virtue. Time spent yearning for external aid is time lost in shaping yourself into someone capable of meeting adversity with clarity and calm. Each unclaimed hour is a silent betrayal of your potential. Understand that independence does not mean rejection of community or help. It means placing your first allegiance to your own mind and judgment. The individual who stands firm, grounded in reason and principle, navigates challenges with composure. Seneca reminds us that adversity exposes the depth of character. Without testing, virtue is hypothetical. Only action reveals what you are capable of. Difficulties are not punishments, but instruments designed to refine your wisdom, resilience, and patience. No external savior can grant this refinement. It is earned in deliberate engagement, in choices made with courage rather than convenience. Contemplate the illusion of ease. Many flee responsibility, imagining that life will become manageable when someone intervenes. They postpone discipline, avoid discomfort, and defer decisions. In doing so, they surrender authority over their destiny. True mastery arises from embracing the moment, however challenging, and shaping it with deliberate thought and purposeful action. Epictetus teaches that nothing that happens outside your mind can harm your integrity unless you permit it. Therefore, the cultivation of the mind, the training of judgment, and the deliberate alignment with virtue are your only tools for survival and growth. Pause and examine fear. Fear often convinces us that waiting for others will protect us, that dependency is safety, that rescue is necessary. But courage is born when you act despite trepidation, when you respond to challenge with reason rather than impulse. Each choice to stand, to engage, to endure, compounds into a life that cannot be shaken by external circumstance. Life's storms may rage, yet the mind trained to act independently is unassailable. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized that obstacles themselves contain the seeds of opportunity. The very resistance you dread is the raw material for your transformation. Consider the consequences of inaction. Every unclaimed responsibility is a forfeited opportunity to grow. Every hope placed in external deliverance is a chain around your autonomy. The quiet realization that no one will save you is not a sentence to despair. It is an invitation to awaken. Each deliberate step, each small act of self-governance is a reclamation of the power you have always possessed but often neglected. True freedom is never granted, it is claimed through the exercise of discipline, integrity, and persistent effort. Your life is the canvas upon which only you can paint. Others may offer advice, inspiration, or temporary support, but no one can wield the brush for you. The discipline of action, the courage to endure, and the wisdom to choose rightly in each circumstance are yours alone to cultivate. Each conscious choice forms a layer of resilience, a structure of virtue, a foundation of self-reliance. To wait for external aid is to leave the masterpiece incomplete. Only engagement, effort, and reflection can transform potential into reality. Awaken to the liberating truth. Independence is not a burden, but empowerment. Recognize that your mind, your effort, your choices define the trajectory of your life. No event, no person, no circumstance can bestow the power that you already hold within. Each morning presents a fresh opportunity to act decisively, to think deliberately, to live intentionally. Each challenge encountered with courage and reason strengthens the capacity to thrive without dependence. No one will save you, but in that truth lies the clarity, the sovereignty, and the profound possibility to become the architect of your destiny. Imagine life as a vast landscape where every action, thought, and decision carves a path that no one else can walk for you. The terrain is unpredictable, riddled with obstacles and opportunities, indifferent to your desires. No messenger will arrive to light the way, no force will lift you over the cliffs, no external power can guarantee passage through storms. The realization is stark, yet it is the essence of true liberty. The authority to navigate your existence rests entirely within your mind and your choices. To depend upon anything else is to surrender the most sacred domain, the domain of self. Examine the seduction of convenience. Society encourages dependence disguised as companionship or guidance. The world whispers that someone else's intervention will ease your burden, soften the blows, or provide the answers. Yet reliance on others, however subtle, leaves your spirit vulnerable. Strength is forged in the crucible of self-directed action, tempered by trials that test resolve and judgment. Epictetus teaches that external events are beyond our control, but our perceptions and responses are sovereign. By mastering your interior life, you gain a sanctuary. No circumstance can penetrate. Contemplate the urgency of personal accountability. Every delay, every hesitation compounds consequences unseen. Postponing decisions or deferring responsibility gives illusionary comfort but erodes autonomy. Seneca reminds us that life's brevity demands purposeful engagement. Waiting for deliverance that will never come squanders the most precious resource you possess, time itself. The courageous soul recognizes this, and acts with deliberate intention, cultivating habits, disciplines, and strategies that create resilience. In this way, adversity ceases to be a threat and becomes a tool for refinement. Consider the nature of fear and uncertainty. The instinct to seek protection is natural, yet unexamined it enslaves. True fortitude emerges when one confronts fear without expectation of rescue. Marcus Aurelius often reflects on the idea that difficulty is a teacher, resistance a guide. Each encounter with challenge presents an opportunity to sharpen judgment, expand endurance, and deepen understanding. Those who wait for salvation remain in stasis, while those who act independently discover an inner strength impervious to circumstance. Courage is not flamboyant heroism, it is quiet persistence, measured action, and the refusal to relinquish control of the mind. Recognize the illusions that cloud perception. Comfort, convenience, and habitual reliance create a deceptive sense of safety. They lull the mind into passivity, fostering dependence on fortune or the assistance of others. Yet fortune is fickle, and assistance is never guaranteed. To cultivate sovereignty is to embrace the reality that self-reliance is the only dependable refuge. The mind disciplined to act intentionally, the heart prepared to endure, and the will trained to persist form an unshakable fortress. Within it, no turbulence from the outside can disturb equilibrium or peace. Observe the consequences of procrastination and surrender. Each postponed decision is a subtle surrender of power, each deferred responsibility a retreat from potential. True mastery is realized not through contemplation alone, but through the consistent enactment of principles under the pressures of life. Epictetus emphasizes that we are architects of our character, builders of virtue, and that these are constructed in the present moment through action, not in expectation of aid. To wait for deliverance is to deny the essential work of becoming capable, resilient, and wise. Reflect upon the profound liberation in self-sufficiency. Understanding that no one will intercede on your behalf is terrifying only if you perceive it as a loss. In truth, it is an awakening to possibility. All power to shape, direct, and cultivate your life lies in your hands. Each deliberate choice, each moment of focus, each act of courage and integrity strengthens the foundation of a life that cannot be undermined by the whims of circumstance. Virtue, resilience, and wisdom arise from effort, not from expectation. Finally, embrace the call to act. The universe is neither hostile nor friendly, it simply unfolds. Waiting for a miracle is futile. Transformation is cultivated in moments of deliberate engagement. The individual who recognizes that no one will save them gains clarity, responsibility, and agency. They become the master of their mind, the architect of their character, and the navigator of their destiny. Each step taken independently, each decision made with integrity brings liberation. This is not only survival, it is the triumph of the human spirit, forged in the discipline of self-reliance, guided by reason, and anchored in the practice of Stoic virtue. Pause and consider the quiet truth often ignored. No one is coming to intervene. No one will shield you from the consequences of your choices. No external force can guarantee that life will unfold as you wish. This recognition, while unsettling, is the doorway to authentic power. True mastery begins when the mind accepts absolute responsibility for its circumstances. Every thought, every reaction, every decision is yours alone. Dependence is comforting only in illusion. Independence is liberation felt in every fiber of your being. The moment you stop hoping for rescue, you start claiming sovereignty over your own existence. The human tendency to wait for guidance or protection is ancient and natural, but it is a trap. Epictetus teaches that freedom resides not in circumstances but in judgment. Those who expect deliverance remain captives of chance. Those who act with deliberate intent, cultivating strength of mind and resilience of spirit, discover an unassailable inner citadel. Challenges, setbacks, and uncertainty are not enemies but instruments shaping the depth of character. Each encounter with difficulty, if met with reasoned thought and steadfast action, becomes a teacher imparting wisdom and endurance that cannot be borrowed or inherited. Examine the illusions of safety that surround you. Comfort, familiarity, and routine may create a sense of stability, yet they are fragile and fleeting. External conditions offer no guarantees. Waiting for someone to lift burdens, to direct your path, to grant insight is a surrender of your inherent authority. Seneca reminds us that life is fleeting, and the moments lost to hesitation or reliance are irretrievable. Power lies not in evading difficulty, but in embracing it, in confronting reality with calm discernment, and in shaping your actions according to reason rather than desire for ease. Reflect on fear, that silent force that persuades minds to delay and hearts to lean on others. Fear is natural, yet it is not an excuse. Marcus Aurelius insists that obstacles themselves are opportunities. The trials you dread most are the tools that forge resilience, sharpen judgment, and deepen clarity. To wait for safety or intervention is to reject the very lessons life provides. Courage is cultivated not in the absence of fear, but in the conscious choice to act despite it. Each decision to face challenge independently, without expectation of external aid, accumulates into strength that no misfortune can dismantle. Consider your time the relentless flow that does not pause for indecision. Every hour surrendered to inaction, to reliance, or to waiting is an hour lost to potential. Life offers no extensions, no do-overs, no guarantees of intervention. Reflection is valuable, but without decisive application, it is meaningless. Action, grounded in virtue, reason, and awareness, is the crucible in which your autonomy is forged. The individual who understands that no one will save them no longer fears the void. They navigate it with clarity, purpose, and deliberate engagement. Recognize that the mind is your most profound domain of control. External events may be unpredictable, but your perception and response are always within reach. The Stoic path emphasizes that freedom emerges from this awareness. By cultivating self-discipline, clarity, and moral purpose, you erect a fortress within, unshaken by the turbulence of circumstance. No fortune, no ally, no circumstance can diminish the strength of a mind disciplined to act independently. Each choice made with integrity, each habit formed deliberately, and each challenge faced resolutely compounds into a life of enduring agency. Understand the paradox of responsibility. The weight of knowing that no one will save you is simultaneously a burden and a liberation. It is a burden because there is no external safety net, no guarantee, no hand to catch you. It is liberation because the power to shape, guide, and transform your life lies entirely in your own grasp. Each act of deliberate courage, each decision executed with reason, and each challenge met with unwavering attention solidifies mastery over your own destiny. The recognition of this truth awakens the individual to the unparalleled freedom of self-reliance. Finally, act. The universe is impartial. It does not reward wishful thinking. Transformation occurs not through hope or expectation, but through consistent effort, thoughtful decision-making, and disciplined engagement with reality. To grasp the truth that no one will save you is to claim your power, to embrace responsibility, and to begin the lifelong work of shaping a resilient, virtuous, and independent existence. Your life is a landscape entirely your own to navigate. Your choices are the instruments of your liberation. Every step taken consciously, every act executed with awareness, and every challenge met with courage constructs a life that is entirely yours, invulnerable to the whims of chance or the absence of external rescue. Turn your attention inward and recognize a truth many resist. The world owes you nothing. Fortune neither notices nor rewards expectation. The belief that someone will appear to protect, guide, or redeem you is a comforting illusion, but it is also a trap. Strength emerges not from dependence, but from cultivating mastery over your own mind and actions. You are the architect of your life, the materials are your decisions, the blueprint your reason, and the structure is built through perseverance and courage. Waiting for intervention surrenders the power of creation to chance, but deliberate engagement seizes it. Reflect on the patterns of avoidance that dominate human behavior. Many flee discomfort, delay responsibility, or cling to hope that a savior will materialize in some form. Yet these behaviors only extend vulnerability. Epictetus reminds us that events themselves do not harm. Harm arises from judgment and inaction. The individual who chooses deliberate effort over passive expectation discovers resilience, clarity, and freedom. Every action taken independently is a testament to self-determination. Every choice deferred or dependent erodes it. Life's trials are inevitable, but they do not define you unless you allow them to dictate your conduct. Consider the illusion of protection offered by others. Guidance, mentorship, or advice may inspire, but they cannot act, feel, or decide for you. The strength of your existence lies not in external support, but in the cultivation of judgment, endurance, and disciplined thought. Seneca observes that the wise individual is unshaken by fortune, untouched by misfortune, and anchored by virtue. Those who wait for rescue remain at the mercy of circumstance, while those who embrace self-reliance shape destiny through conscious choice. Freedom arises in the space between perception and action, in the disciplined response to life's uncertainties. Examine the temptation to postpone action until conditions are ideal. Life is rarely ideal. The clouds of doubt, anxiety, and fear will always drift across your path. Marcus Aurelius notes that the obstacle itself is opportunity, the challenge a chance to refine character. Waiting for favorable conditions is a subtle surrender, a quiet abdication of responsibility. Courage is not heroic display, but deliberate persistence, repeated engagement with difficulty, and conscious choice in the face of uncertainty. Every moment of decisive act. Iron compounds into strength, every avoidance into weakness. Contemplate the power of consistent, disciplined effort. True autonomy is not sudden or dramatic. It is built in the quiet repetition of deliberate acts. Speaking truth when falsehood is convenient, acting with integrity when deceit would be easier, enduring discomfort when pleasure tempts, these are the small victories that accumulate into a life defined by self-mastery. Dependence erodes character, independence fortifies it. By embracing responsibility fully, by refusing to wait for external deliverance, you cultivate the only form of security that is enduring, the mastery of your own mind and actions. Recognize fear's subtle role in human weakness. Fear whispers that protection must come from outside, that someone will intervene, that safety is conditional, yet the courageous mind perceives fear without surrender. Epictetus teaches that the mind can remain unbroken in any circumstance if it aligns its judgments with reason rather than desire. Each encounter with challenge, each deliberate choice to act despite fear, strengthens resilience and sharpens clarity. By embracing the principle that no one will save you, you awaken to the freedom to shape life according to your values, not fortune's whim. Notice the urgency embedded in life's brevity. Time does not pause, nor does opportunity linger indefinitely. Waiting for someone to rescue you is wasted motion. Acting to cultivate wisdom, resilience, and self-reliance is meaningful progress. Every habit built, every principle practiced, every moment endured shapes the foundation of a life immune to the absence of external salvation. Marcus Aurelius counsels attention to the present moment, where deliberate action, guided by reason and virtue, becomes the instrument of freedom. Finally, embrace the profound liberation in self-sufficiency, understanding that one will intervene is not despair, it is clarity. The power to act, to endure, to cultivate virtue, and to shape your existence is wholly yours. Each decision taken with purpose, each act executed with awareness, and each challenge faced resolutely is a declaration of independence. True freedom is not granted by circumstance or others. It is claimed through disciplined action, conscious thought, and unwavering courage. Life offers no guarantees, but it offers the opportunity to rise, to create, and to master yourself entirely. Step back and observe the illusions that govern the mind when it relies on others. Many imagine that guidance or rescue will arrive in their hour of need. The truth is sharper, more demanding. No external hand will intervene. No circumstance will bend for you. No outside source can instill the courage, clarity, or wisdom that you must cultivate yourself. Life does not cater to expectation. It offers challenges and consequences with impartiality. Within this stark reality lies the seed of sovereignty, the realization that the power to act, endure, and transform is entirely your own. Consider the danger of passive hope. It is seductive because it promises relief without exertion. Yet waiting for external intervention fosters weakness. Every moment spent hoping for rescue is a moment of forfeited growth, a fragment of your potential surrendered to chance. Epictetus teaches that events themselves are neither good nor bad. The judgment we apply to them creates our experience. Therefore, strength emerges not from circumstances, but from disciplined reasoning, deliberate action, and the cultivation of virtue. Those who act independently carve freedom from the indifferent flow of life, reflect on the inevitability of discomfort. The human condition guarantees trials, uncertainty, and adversity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that adversity is the instrum, ente of character, the measure of resilience, and the opportunity to practice reason. To wait for external help is to deny the lesson that life imposes through difficulty. Each challenge faced directly, each choice made with intent, is a victory that no one can bestow and no one can take away. Courage is not flamboyant or dramatic. It is subtle, persistent, and manifest in every deliberate decision taken under pressure. Examine the fleeting nature of time. Life does not wait. The hours squandered in dependence or idle expectation are irretrievably lost. Seneca repeatedly emphasizes that the brevity of existence demands purposeful action. Each instant of deliberate engagement strengthens the foundation of self-reliance. Each hesitation surrenders power. Those who recognize that no one will rescue them respond with urgency and clarity, cultivating the habits and practices that fortify the mind, sharpen judgment, and anchor the spirit against misfortune. Recognize the subtle tyranny of fear. Fear often masquerades as prudence, convincing the mind to defer action until someone else intervenes or conditions are favorable. Yet true prudence is understanding the limits of control and exercising agency within them. Courage arises when the mind acts despite fear, aligning thought and action with principle rather than impulse. Each conscious effort, each deliberate choice, becomes a reinforcement of independence and a rejection of reliance. The soul trained in this manner becomes unshakable, impervious to external whims. Contemplate the role of discipline in forging autonomy. Strength is not a gift, it is an achievement. Daily, deliberate effort in thought, action, and emotion accumulates into resilience. Speaking truth when deceit is easier, acting with integrity when compromise is convenient, enduring discomfort when ease tempts. These are the small victories that construct unyielding self-reliance. No external presence can replicate this growth. It must be cultivated, nurtured, and claimed. Dependence weakens, but self-governance empowers. Observe the paradox of total responsibility. Acknowledging that no one will save you is frightening because it reveals the full weight of agency. Yet within that weight lies liberation. When no one intervenes, all power rests in your hands. Each conscious action, every habitual practice, and each deliberate decision is a declaration of sovereignty. Life's uncertainty no longer intimidates, it becomes a proving ground for courage, wisdom, and clarity. The path of the Stoic is clear. Mastery of self is both the shield and the prize, and no external force can substitute for it. Reflection is futile without execution. Insight is hollow without application. The universe will not pause, adjust, or bend for your comfort. Every step taken deliberately, every moment of choice exercised with virtue, constructs a life impervious to reliance on others. To awaken to the truth that no one will save you is to claim full authority over your existence. Every decision, every habit, and every confrontation with challenge is an opportunity to forge independence, resilience, and mastery. The individual who embraces this truth becomes both the sculptor and the statue of their own destiny. Imagine a life where waiting is your constant companion, where the mind lingers in hope for intervention, and where strength is outsourced to circumstance. This is a life of fragility. The reality, though harsh, is profoundly liberating. No one will arrive to shield you from consequences. No circumstance will bend to accommodate your wishes. No external hand can construct the virtues you must embody. True resilience begins when the mind accepts the full weight of responsibility and refuses to abdicate it. Independence is not merely a saint strategy. It is the path to sovereignty over existence itself. Consider how often dependence masquerades as prudence. Waiting for someone to provide guidance, security, or clarity offers temporary comfort but breeds weakness. Every moment surrendered to expectation is a loss of power, a delay in the cultivation of the strength and wisdom that define a life well lived. Epictetus teaches that our judgments are our own, and that only by mastering them can we achieve freedom. External events are neutral. They cannot harm the mind unless the mind permits it. Strength grows in the deliberate engagement with life's demands, not in passive anticipation of rescue. Reflect on adversity as the teacher it is. Marcus Aurelius observed that obstacles are not hindrances, but instruments of growth. The trials you dread are opportunities to refine judgment, fortify resilience, and clarify purpose. Waiting for someone to remove obstacles denies the lesson and forfeits the development that arises from struggle. Courage, discipline, and reason are forged only in confrontation with difficulty. Each deliberate act in the presence of challenge reinforces autonomy, builds confidence, and anchors the mind against the uncertainties that inevitably arrive. Examine the deceptive allure of comfort and postponement. Life rarely presents ideal conditions. Waiting for perfect circumstances, for someone else to intervene, or for obstacles to disappear is a subtle form of surrender. Seneca emphasizes that life is fleeting. Those who waste time in hope or reliance delay the realization of their potential. The individual who acts intentionally cultivates habits, sharpens perception, and strengthens character. Action is not merely reaction, it is the instrument of self-determination, the foundation of enduring freedom. Contemplate fear and its subtle dominion. Fear convinces minds to defer responsibility, to hope for protection, and to relinquish initiative. Yet courage emerges not in the absence of fear, but in conscious action despite it. Each challenge faced without expectation of rescue strengthens autonomy, refines judgment, and deepens resilience. The mind trained to act deliberately, to endure discomfort, and to align behavior with reason develops a fortress impenetrable to circumstance. Reliance on others is replaced by confidence in self, and hesitation gives way to clarity. Observe the transformative power of daily discipline. True independence is not granted, it is earned through persistent effort. Speaking truth when deceit is easier, acting with integrity when compromise tempts, embracing discomfort when ease beckons, these repeated deliberate choices accumulate into a life governed by wisdom and self-reliance. The individual who recognizes that no one will save them invests energy in the only source of dependable power, their own mind and their own actions. Every act of intention strengthens sovereignty, every act of avoidance diminishes it. Consider the liberation of responsibility fully embraced. To accept that no external force will deliver you is not despair, it is awakening. Within that awareness lies power. Every decision, every habit, every deliberate step shapes the course of life. Life's uncertainty becomes a proving ground rather than a threat, and each obstacle encountered independently becomes a forge for resilience and wisdom. Freedom resides in the capacity to act deliberately, to endure discomfort, and to cultivate virtue without dependence. Reflection without execution is futile. Insight without application is empty. The universe neither pauses nor alters for your convenience. Every choice, every habit, every courageous act is a brushstroke in the calm. Position of your destiny. The moment you abandon expectation of external rescue, you step into true authority over your existence. Independence is not a distant goal. It is claimed in every decision, reinforced in every challenge and proven in every deliberate act of courage, discipline, and reason. Step into the reality. Few dare to face, the world offers no guarantee, no savior, no pause for hesitation. Every moment you rely on external aid is a moment your life slips quietly into the hands of chance. Freedom begins where dependence ends. Every thought unexamined, every fear indulged, every delay in action is a surrender of power you already possess. The Stoics understood that sovereignty of mind is the only true security, the only refuge unshaken by circumstance. To wait for rescue is to remain untested. To act independently is to awaken. Observe the subtle ways hope for intervention infiltrates life. It appears as planning without movement, reflection without application, or trust in others to carry the weight of your existence. These behaviors, though comforting, diminish your capacity for resilience. Epictetus teaches that nothing outside the mind can diminish freedom unless the mind allows it. Each decision to act deliberately, each refusal to lean on another, strengthens a fortress of autonomy within. Challenges cease to be threats. When met with reasoned action, they become instruments of growth and wisdom. Consider the inevitability of adversity. Life guarantees trials, uncertainty, and unforeseen obstacles. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that the difficulties we encounter are not interruptions, but the essential material from which character is forged. Waiting for conditions to be favorable, or for someone to guide or protect you, delays mastery. True courage and resilience emerge in the act of facing difficulty intentionally, in aligning choice with principle rather than seeking safety in reliance. Each confrontation with challenge is a rehearsal in self-mastery, a deliberate shaping of the mind and spirit. Reflect on the urgency of time. The hours spent expecting intervention, hoping for rescue, or hesitating are irretrievable. Seneca reminds us that life is fleeting and that the value of every moment is in the action it contains. Each decision to engage deliberately, each act executed with awareness and integrity, reinforces independence. Waiting for others is surrender. Purposeful action is sovereignty. The individual who internalizes that no one will save them seizes the present moment, cultivates wisdom, and builds the discipline that secures a life governed by self-determination. Examine the deceptive comfort of fear. Fear whispers that safety lies in dependency, that protection must come from external sources, that relief is contingent upon others. Courage, however, is cultivated in conscious action despite apprehension. Every challenge faced without expectation of rescue strengthens autonomy, sharpens judgment, and anchors resilience. The mind, trained in deliberate thought, disciplined practice, and reasoned action, becomes unshakable. Freedom is not the absence of difficulty, but mastery over one's response to it. Reliance on others is replaced by confidence in self. Hesitation is replaced by clarity. Consider the cumulative power of repeated effort. Independence is not sudden. It is the result of daily deliberate acts. Speaking truth when falsehood is easier, enduring discomfort when ease is tempting, acting with purpose when distraction beckons. These habits accumulate into a life defined by self-reliance. External support may inspire, but it cannot replace the cultivation of strength, virtue, and wisdom. Every intentional choice affirms sovereignty. Every delay or dependence undermines it. Embrace the paradox of responsibility. Accepting that no one will save you is daunting because it reveals the total weight of agency. Yet in this weight lies liberation, the realization that all power to shape, guide, and refine your life rests within you. Each deliberate act, every cultivated habit, every decision made with clarity and courage strengthens autonomy. Life's unpredictability becomes a proving ground. Challenges transform into instruments of growth, and the individual who acts decisively becomes both the sculptor and the work of art. Silence your expectation of rescue and feel the weight of true autonomy. Life is not orchestrated to grant reprieve or shelter. It is a realm where every consequence, every decision, and every outcome rests upon your choices alone. To hope for intervention is to remain passive, relinquishing the authority you already possess. Freedom emerges the moment you embrace responsibility in its entirety. No circumstance, no individual, no external force can construct the courage, clarity, or integrity that can only be developed through deliberate practice and conscious engagement with reality. Delve into the subtle traps of dependency. Many convince themselves that guidance or assistance will deliver results, that direction must come from an external hand. This reliance, while soothing, is a quiet theft of power. Epictetus teaches that external events are indifferent, they cannot harm unless you allow them to dictate your mind. Each decision taken independently strengthens your sovereignty, fortifies judgment, and transforms adversity into the crucible of resilience. Strength is cultivated in action, not in waiting, and wisdom arises through deliberate confrontation with life's uncertainties. Reflect on the inevitability of obstacles. Every existence contains challenges, disruptions, and unforeseen trials. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that obstacles are the natural tools of growth, shaping character, sharpening discernment, and testing perseverance. Waiting for ideal circumstances or external intervention diminishes the lessons inherent in struggle. True courage and self-mastery are demonstrated not in moments of comfort, but in deliberate choices made under pressure, with reason as the guiding principle. Each encounter with difficulty strengthens independence and cements resilience. Observe how fleeting time exposes the danger of reliance. Every hour squandered in expectation, every moment given to hesitation, is irretrievably lost. Seneca emphasizes that life is short and that the value of time lies in purposeful action. To wait for rescue is to surrender the present. To act deliberately is to claim sovereignty. The individual who recognizes that no one will intervene seizes each instant, cultivates skill and wisdom, and builds habits that sustain autonomy, turning every challenge into a foundation for self-mastery. Notice the quiet tyranny of fear. Fear disguises itself as prudence, as caution, as a compelling reason to defer action until assistance arrives. Courage, however, is not the absence of fear. It is action aligned with reason in spite of it. Each instance of facing adversity without expectation of rescue strengthens self-reliance, sharpens clarity, and solidifies inner fortitude. A mind disciplined through deliberate practice, deliberate thought, and conscious engagement becomes invulnerable to circumstance. Freedom is realized not in comfort, but in mastery over thought, choice, and action. Consider the gradual accumulation of discipline. Independence is not a singular event. It is forged through repeated, conscious acts. Speaking truth when dishonesty is convenient, acting with integrity when compromise is tempting, enduring hardship when ease calls. These choices, made consistently, form the backbone of resilience and autonomy. External support may motivate, but it cannot replace the strength developed within. Through deliberate effort, every choice reinforces sovereignty, every act of passivity erodes it. Step into the awareness that no hand will intervene, no circumstance will alter your path, and no external agent can assume responsibility for the life you inhabit. This is not a declaration of despair, but a revelation of power. Every action, every decision, and every thought is a tool you alone can wield. To rely on hope for rescue is to abandon the sovereignty that is inherently yours. True mastery arises when the mind embraces full accountability, cultivating discipline, courage, and wisdom in the face of uncertainty. Independence is not optional, it is the foundation of meaningful existence. Examine the subtle allure of dependency. Comfort, routine, and external reassurance may seem appealing, yet they quietly diminish capability. Epictetus reminds us that harm comes not from events themselves, but from misjudgment and inaction. To allow circumstance or the aid of others to dictate your choices is to surrender freedom. Every deliberate act of self-direction, every decision taken with awareness, builds a fortress of autonomy that cannot be shaken by misfortune or unpredictability. The trials you encounter are instruments to forge resilience, patience, and clarity, and they can only be wielded through your own deliberate engagement. Contemplate adversity as the architect of character. Marcus Aurelius frequently observed that challenges are neither punishments nor obstacles. They are opportunities for cultivation. Waiting for someone else to remove barriers, provide guidance, or soften consequences deprives you of these essential lessons. True courage is measured not by comfort, but by intentional action under pressure. Each challenge approached independently strengthens judgment, sharpens perception, and deepens endurance. Adversity becomes a workshop for the soul, producing wisdom, fortitude, and self-reliance that cannot be inherited or borrowed. Reflect on the irreversibility of time. Hours lost to waiting, hesitation, or dependence are hours that can never be reclaimed. Seneca warns that the brevity of life demands deliberate, purposeful engagement. To postpone action in the hope that relief will arrive from outside is to relinquish precious opportunity. By embracing responsibility, acting with intention, and cultivating discipline, the individual transforms the relentless flow of time into a foundation for self-mastery and enduring freedom. Each moment seized consciously fortifies autonomy, each moment wasted in expectation weakens it. Observe fear's quiet influence. Fear presents itself as caution, prudence, or necessity, whispering that safety can only come from external aid. Yet courage is forged not in the absence of fear, but in action taken despite it. Each decision to engage reality directly, each challenge confronted independently, fortifies the mind and strengthens resolve. The individual who trains thought and action through deliberate practice develops a sphere of inner freedom impervious to circumstance. Reliance is replaced by self-assurance. Hesitation gives way to clarity, calm, and resolve. Consider the compounded power of daily, intentional effort. True independence is not sudden. It is formed through persistent, conscious acts. Speaking truth when dishonesty is convenient, acting with integrity when compromise tempts, enduring discomfort when ease calls. These are the incremental victories that shape a life defined by self-governance. External support may motivate, but it cannot replicate the resilience developed within. Every intentional decision reinforces autonomy. Every act of reliance diminishes it. Embrace the paradoxical liberation of responsibility. Recognizing that no one will save you is initially daunting, revealing the full weight of agency, resting solely upon your choices. Yet within that weight lies extraordinary freedom, the capacity to shape, refine, and direct life entirely through personal effort. Each conscious action, each habit deliberately cultivated, and each challenge met with reason and courage affirms sovereignty. Life's unpredictability becomes a proving ground. Obstacles transform into opportunities, and deliberate engagement produces mastery. Finally, commit to decisive action. Reflection without application is barren. Contemplation without execution is impotent. The universe will not pause, yield, or adjust to comfort. Every step taken intentionally, every act carried out with awareness, and every challenge met independently constructs a life that no external factor can undermine. To awaken to the reality that no one will save you is to embrace absolute agency, unparalleled autonomy, and the profound capacity to create and master your destiny with your own mind, judgment, and actions. Freedom is claimed continuously in every conscious choice and proven through deliberate engagement with the present moment. Step into the awareness that life will not pause for hesitation, and no one will appear to untangle the consequences of your choices. There is no external architect of your destiny. You alone are responsible for constructing it. This realization is not meant to intimidate, it is the cornerstone of genuine power. Each thought carefully examined, each decision consciously executed, and every action taken with purpose becomes a brick in the foundation of sovereignty. Dependence on others is a fragile illusion. Independence is the durable structure of the mind and spirit. Examine the seduction of delay. Many wait for guidance, security, or fortune to make life easier. These habits, while comforting, erode agency. Epictetus reminds us that suffering does not arise from events themselves, but from the mind's failure to act rightly. Every moment spent waiting for aid is a moment lost to self-mastery. By confronting reality with intentional effort and aligning choices with reason, the individual transforms obstacles into instruments for cultivating resilience, clarity, and virtue. Each challenge approached independently strengthens the capacity to navigate uncertainty. Consider the essential role of discomfort. Marcus Aurelius observed that difficulties are not punishments, but tools for refining judgment and fortifying character. Waiting for conditions to be favorable or for someone else to intervene delays the very lessons that adversity provides. Courage, integrity, and wisdom are born in the crucible of intentional action under pressure. Every obstacle met without dependence teaches the mind discipline, patience, and insight, creating a foundation for a life guided by reason rather than by circumstance or chance. Reflect on the fleeting nature of time. Life moves relentlessly forward, indifferent to indecision, hope, or expectation. Seneca emphasizes that the value of each moment lies in the purposeful actions it contains. Dependence on external rescue squanders this invaluable resource. By embracing full responsibility, the individual seizes time as an ally, cultivating habits, choices, and practices that strengthen autonomy and reinforce resilience. Each deliberate act compounds, creating momentum that no external intervention could replicate. Observe the subtle power of fear. Fear convinces many to defer decisions, seek protection, or hope for guidance. Yet courage is cultivated not through absence of fear, but through disciplined action in spite of it. Every instance of confronting reality without expectation of rescue solidifies independence, sharpens judgment, and deepens endurance. The mind train. To act intentionally, persevere through challenges, and align choices with reason becomes an unassailable fortress. Reliance is replaced by confidence, hesitation by clarity, and doubt by deliberate purpose. Consider the cumulative strength of habitual effort. True independence is built incrementally through repeated intentional acts. Speaking truth when falsehood is easier, acting with integrity when compromise is convenient, and enduring discomfort when pleasure tempts. These small but deliberate practices solidify character and self-governance. External assistance may inspire, but cannot replace the strength forged through personal discipline and conscious engagement. Every deliberate choice affirms autonomy, every deferral erodes it. Embrace the liberation within responsibility. The acknowledgement that no one will save you may feel daunting, yet it simultaneously reveals a profound freedom. All authority over life rests in your hands. Each intentional decision, every cultivated habit, and every challenge met with courage and reason strengthens mastery of self. Life's unpredictability transforms from threat into opportunity, and each obstacle faced independently becomes a tool for growth. Finally, act decisively. Reflection without implementation is barren. Contemplation without application is hollow. The universe offers no accommodations for expectation or passivity. Every conscious step, every deliberate choice, and every challenge embraced independently constructs a life unshakable by external forces. Recognition that no one will save you awakens clarity, autonomy, and the capacity to fully sculpt your destiny. Freedom is claimed continuously through deliberate engagement with life and through mastery of thought, choice, and action.